Welcome to session 11C, Formulation of Post-Disaster Rehabilitation and Recovery Financing Program. My name is Fides Borja. I'm the World Bank DRM consultant and former Assistant Secretary of the Office of the President. At the end of this session, the participants will be able to conduct post-disaster budget review based on the post-disaster needs assessment results, identify the different sources of financing based on the local disaster risk financing strategy, and draft the post-disaster rehabilitation and recovery financing program. So in this session, we will discuss the key activities in formulating financing program for disaster recovery because ultimately the goal is to recover from disasters by implementing the rehabilitation and recovery plan. So critical in ensuring the implementation of the rehabilitation and recovery program is the availability of budget and financing resources. The conduct of the activities that we will be discussing today will help ensure that the funds will be generated and that budget will correspondingly be allocated to the identified recovery programs, projects, and activities. So first activity is the conduct of the post-disaster budget review. And this is simultaneously being conducted while the post-disaster needs assessment is still being drafted. Since there are simultaneous activities that are ongoing, it is important that LGUs and government are aware of who does what, who is in charge of the PDNA, and who is in charge of the conduct of post-disaster budget review. So usually for the budget review, these are handled by the finance and budget agencies as well as by the budget officers of the LGUs and the concerned implementing agencies at the national level. So this activity will facilitate the early determination of the financing requirement, the available resources, and the funding gap and its recommended financing strategy. So to quickly quantify the economic cost of the disaster or early estimates of needs, the initial PDNA results provide an initial estimate of needed interventions. So we know that the conduct of PDNA usually takes time because it requires field validation, data gathering, and other related activities. The key here is not to wait for the completion of the full PDNA. The LGUs and government agencies may make use of the initial results of the PDNA as well as other available information. So this may include the baseline data of the affected LGUs, as well as the science-based scenario building. Through this, the government may already pre-identify the possible disaster scenarios and the projected impacts. So you may already identify what are these critical infrastructures that may be affected or impacted by the disasters. So if you already have information that are already available on what and where are these critical infrastructures such as hospitals, school buildings, the houses or families that are living in disaster prone areas, then you can already pre-identify its possible impact. Also, this will facilitate for the later, for the prioritization of recovery needs because you already know where are the possible affected families, where are the possible affected infrastructures, and even livelihood sectors that may be affected by the disaster. So, aside from this, you can also identify the available resources and the possible funding gap. Most often, there is a funding gap because recovery takes a lot of resources from the government. So this can be assessed vis-a-vis the government's available funds through the various fund source options, not just the interim fund. So what we want to emphasize here is that eliminate the common practice wherein the entire government solely depends on one source of fund, which is the National DRRM Fund or the interim fund. We know that the access to this fund takes time also. So it would be very helpful if the LGUs at their level are already aware of the other fund sources that they can tap, not just the interim fund. The next activity is the resource mobilization. And this will come in when the overall resources of government are not enough to cover for the entire recovery needs. In cases of massive destruction, an appropriation of a supplemental budget or an appeal for external or international financing assistance may be needed. And this has been done in the past wherein government would issue supplemental budget based on the identified financing requirement, and that appeal for external or international financing assistance were conducted also in the past. Um, this has been done post Typhoon Haiyan, as well as for the recovery for Marawi. So in most cases, external resources also cover funding for medium to long-term projects and activities, particularly in cases of large-scale disasters. The third key activity is coordination and allocation of funds. So the key here is to do this in a programmatic manner, because we know that hindi naman lahat ng recovery needs are needed immediately, sabay-sabay. So this is where your prioritization of needs will come in. Alin lang ba ang mga recovery interventions that are needed in the short term? And based on that, what are the available resources so that those can be properly and immediately allocated? At the same time, needs those interventions that are needed for the medium term and long term will also be identified, and that financing requirements for those interventions can be facilitated later on. The LGUs and government agencies will have enough lead time to source the funds for those interventions. At the same time, this activity will result into a more organized or coordinated arrangements for financing. This will ensure that funding for projects are not duplicated and that available resources are maximized, even those coming from the private sectors and non-government organizations. So for example, there are development partners or private sectors who are able to implement and fund certain recovery interventions. So the LGU will be in a position wherein they can direct these partners, these stakeholders, to where they are needed the most. So they may assign certain PPAs, or let's say X number of barangays. So those partners may implement those PPAs in certain identified barangays or municipalities. And so those that are not yet covered, then LGUs may secure funding for those remaining needs. The next one is the funds flow or PFM system. This can be done even prior to a disaster, wherein the LGUs at their level and also the government agencies will regularly revisit the existing PFM rules, because based on experience, the common practice is that delays happen in the access, request and access to these funds. So what are the existing guidelines, existing processes that can be revisited or can be possibly removed based on existing guidelines? Because the objective is to fast track the overall recovery. And revisiting the existing PFM system would greatly help in speeding up the implementation of the different recovery interventions. So the last and important activity is auditing and monitoring oversight. It is important that mechanisms are in place so that government and even third-party evaluators will be able to manage and track the funds. Where are the funds going? Saan sila na-implement? Saang barangay ang wala pang funds na nabibigay? But this will be discussed to you extensively in your next session on monitoring and evaluation. Now I will show you the template that we have developed to guide you in the development of your local disaster risk financing strategy. So this is based on the different fund source options that are available to you. And we think that through this template, it will guide you on how you will develop your financing program for the overall rehabilitation and recovery. So let me quickly go through this template with you. Here, you will identify based on the different fund source options that are available to you. alin doon ang applicable to your LGUs? Alin doon ang pwede nyong magamit in the event na magkaroon ng disaster and kailanganin ninyo? So you identify it here, and then you'll also provide the legal basis, short description, so that offhand you have an idea what are the allowable projects here, what are the para saan itong mga funds na ito. Also, you have here the approving authority, because with the different fund sources, we know that there are different approving authorities. Naturally, there are different approval process required for each fund source. So in some cases or in some fund sources, this information is already available in the guidelines or issuances of, for example, BBM or other concerned agencies. So allowable projects, in some cases, there are issuances wherein indicated already ano lang yung mga projects that you can fund through this fund source. For example, damaged hospitals. So you can immediately see na for this PPA, for the damaged hospital, pwede ko siyang kunin dito sa fund source na to. And the next one is maximum amount ceiling. So similar with the allowable projects, there are issuances na naka-identify kaagad. Ano yung maximum amount ceiling lang. So that you'll have an idea na this is my limit for this project if I will source it from this fund. And so I can program or look for other fund sources for the particular funding gap nung PPA na yon. And so this template is very straightforward. You can expand this, you can add or delete certain information that you think are useful for your LGU. So for example, you may add here if there are sample project templates that you will need by the time na magre-request na kayo for this certain fund source. So these are the things that we suggest and we encourage you all to have and prepare in advance prior to disasters, because we know that during and post disasters, there are several overlapping activities and all those things are urgent and needed, diba? So with this, the LGUs will have a head start ng for the subsequent implementation of the recovery PPP. And so we hope that you will regularly update this and make use of this simple template. So to close this session, it's important to remember that having a local disaster risk financing strategy in place pre-disaster and integrated in the overall preparedness and recovery plans would help ensure that recovery interventions are fully financed. And lastly, a duly funded rehabilitation and recovery program gives the government the credibility and creates public trust that projects and activities will be implemented. So thank you and stay safe.